So maybe before we move on to other things, could we just like rehash everybody kind of up to date with what we've already gone over tonight? Maybe like kind of what we plan on like kind of working on this week. We're going to create a list of Democrats, Republicans, national and statewide and citywide, who are definitely not aligned with us and are actively pursuing and working. Huh?
It has to be the shit list. That has to be its official name.
I didn't want to repeat it again. There's like me on camera saying this like 15 times. Okay, there's going to be a shit list. And basically people who are definitely not on page with us and who are actively pursuing to break down arguments and turn, make the city look better than us, essentially. Yeah. So we need to start really framing contradictions to that to really reinforce that we're right. And then we talked about making a really strong Google Calendar of keeping up to date of people who are getting in touch with us for interviews so that we don't get behind on interviewing and prioritizing who we're going to get in touch with first. And really coming to the group with, you know, agendas on that. And then we talked about Tea Party versus Occupy. That's is that a possible public interest issue? Is that being done for spectacle or potential conflict? Are we going to put out a message of partial solidarity with the Tea Party? And if we do that, are we going to take that statement to the GA and read it? Is it a press release as response to the Tea Party audit? Will we put this on Wiki for a collaborative effort?
I'll make a page right now.
Well, as far as the audit, they are auditing over 700 other businesses that have failed to file specific paperwork, or so their argument is.
That's what the city says, correct?
Yes. Which, I mean, I know it's not the most popular place to say this, but I will give the city the benefit of the doubt until I have evidence that suggests otherwise. I don't think, you know, raising a TIF over $10,000 is going to. The city's going to risk that kind of PR over, you know, something that is trivial as that. So personally, I believe the city when it's just, they say it's just bad time.
I think it's a good point, Will, and I think it's something we should take into consideration as we make this press release, but I also think we should take into consideration that this audit has already been framed by other media networks against us in terms of city favoring us over the Tea Party and also the taxpayer argument, which is really going to really turn some people's heads, especially Republican voters and conservative voters, because the tax-paying drama that's been unfolding crosses a lot of cultural issues, not just that of Occupy. So,
well, and that also fits in with the narrative that they're already using. Where, you know, we're just a bunch of unemployed people looking for handouts.
I could use about $10, honestly.
And then we also went over Facebook as a tool, Twitter as a tool, website as a tool, what that means to us, and strategies for Facebook to control the message a bit. Are we going to drown out negative comments? Are we going to create a blacklist of words or sentences that we do not think are apropos for our ethics, right? Also, how do we control false information? Will mentioned, like, are we gonna just take off false information off the posts? And all of this is gonna tie into how we create a policy to engage messaging policy. And we can move on now. That's all we went over.
I have a new question.
Yeah.
In Facebook, there are hidden posts. What are we supposed to do with those? Like, it seems like posts are automatically hidden for whatever reason or another.
Repeat that again?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Rich actually sent out an email about that a few hours ago. Something about the default is that the posts are hidden, or I don't know.
A lot
There's
of
an
them
email.
I will say that Facebook is extremely glitchy, and it is very temperamental. And if you don't speak very nicely to it, it will do something you have no idea what the heck.
Yeah. So I've just kind of been going through and unhiding things that shouldn't really be hidden.
That's strange.
And when they're hidden, nobody gets to see them?
Right.
Right.
Only we get to see them. Only admins get to see them.
Oh, only admins. And you don't know why some things get hidden, some things don't.
Like someone's posting a link about like some article or something.
There might be some spam filter issue with that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of to explain why. I mean, because essentially the wall is getting spammed out anyway, just with political stuff. So I'm not surprised that if there is a spam filter, a good amount of that stuff is getting caught. Because people are mass posting web pages and articles on that page.
Like, for the most part, I think that's good. People can have a place to share
Oh,
things.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But a spam filter is not
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. But like there was one, it's like where a t-shirt company that's selling Occupy shirts to benefit Occupy, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to approve that one. And there's one about this guy who's running for Congress, like maybe I shouldn't approve that one either. So,
Well,
like,
again, though,
as the noob, I'm wondering if there's like a policy for.
No. As of now, anyway, there's been two discussions about this. There was one at one GA, and now the one that was here tonight. And so there is no policy.
Okay.
We have not sussed out a policy of any kind.
Although we have, in fact, we've had a very constructive dialogue tonight already about strategies that might turn into that policy.
And I can go ahead and start on a blacklist right now if y'all want me to. Do you all think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't even want to write some of those things.
So, do you guys want to move on to maybe on the agenda the OccuPhone?
Yeah, I was hoping that,
Josh.
yeah, I was hoping Josh could be here.
Oh, yeah, he said that he had something else and he couldn't
We
get
had
down
the,
here.
we had the communications group meeting, which I say again, there's something ironic about the communications group meeting at the same time as the is a media group.
Well, it's a nationwide thing.
Oh, it is.
It's the
Yeah.
correspondence
It's a
course, right?
conference call.
Oh, I thought it was just like my Richmond media group.
People throw bad words at me.
Well,
Can I write them on paper?
Oh, that's the list you're creating?
Like
Okay.
words that are just automatically filtered.
oh, I can have fun with that.
I'll save the ones I just found.
See how creative we can get. See, now we're all comfortable to say them. I think definitely like faggot, cunt. Stuff like that. I don't see being.
You probably
do you
even
know
could-
the word cunt in originality is a Filipino word for admiration of the woman's uterus?
That's
Awesome. Not in America.
Not in America. Yeah.
probably even Google a list of words that are
There's probably
offensive.
Oh yeah. Well,
Oh, I wanted to get creative.
I think that, I think it's important for sure because maybe it'll just automatically. Because I mean, there have been some negative messages, right? Like somebody's an asshole or somebody's a.
I mean, I don't want to censor bad language.
Yeah, we don't want to
Offensive
censor
language.
bad language.
Just,
Just
yeah.
like things that are adherent, like just like whoa, no, you can't go there.
Yeah, I think that list is much shorter than the bad words list. The bad words list, I'm a big fan of. I love all those words. It's the offensive words list that that needs to not happen.
I don't think I know that many words.
Yeah, I already got those three.
But also, if somebody really wants to say something and they can't, they'll just find a way to say it.
But it's not at camp that we're worried about. There's the Facebook page, right? Or the
Yeah.
Twitter.
I don't know. Maybe they're not as creative as I am.
Well, spaces between the letters.
Ira, can you get a ride back?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna go. Bye.
Alright, see you later.
Bye.
Well, how about? I'm sure there's.
This doesn't have to be like a huge
Group effort.
Yeah.
You can just start adding
Yeah.
words that are unwell. I don't know if you can see the ones I just added.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So what are we talking about?
I'll get on the shit list right
Oh, sorry,
away.
First letter C.
I'll get on the shit list.
I'm reading.
y'all.
I'm reading the Google blacklist words, and this is hilarious. Ball kicking.
What if we like
Hold up.
follow that?
Bastinado. Hold up. Beaver cleaver. Big knockers. Sorry. I recommend y'all take a moment to read this on your own.
Alright.
I'll-
Yeah.
Um,
Because last meeting, I felt like you really introduced, like you took it upon yourself to introduce us to some things that we would rather not have known about.
I thought it had to be addressed. There's some things that everybody just needs to know about, and Occupy Wall Street porn is one of those things.
That was awesome though.
Occupy Wall Street. Sorry. All right. Anyway,
Occuphone.
Occuphone. What are we
Ring, ring.
using that for? What is that for?
Nothing sexy about that.
Well, aren't we gonna write it on like things going out to the community so they can just call the phone line and
yes, I think
get a date?
Josh will take it upon himself to make sure that is done. Otherwise, I'm not sure that any of us will take the time.
This is anything that we have to worry about.
Well, it's something that we can give for the bus campaign that's going to happen on the Day of Solidarity, like Ron Rogers and Isaac, because they're really heading outreach right now. They've created a framework for that day, the day events. If they were able to create mass flyers or stickers or something that they could pass people on the bus,
I mean,
it's a
any-
hotline basically.
From now on, basically that phone number is going to be on our flyers and on our websites, and I mean that just like any email address or any URL.
Okay. Should we make an announcement at GA, giving the number to everybody, making sure everybody has it?
He did it last night.
Okay, cool.
And I can get it from him in a moment.
Sent it out on the group me last night too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can, I think we should at least practice with it a little bit before we start mass getting it out there, just to make sure that we all know how to use it and we can all use it appropriately and keep up with it before we start advertising that as a go-to place to find information. I think we get ahead of ourselves a lot of times and say that this is a new feature, this is a new thing, and then it never gets used, and people are like, why the heck did I just get told to use this if we're not going to update it?
I think it's really strong. People who don't have computers, or people who are kind of witness participants to the movement and have missed GAs and they have no one really to talk to directly and be like, hey, I missed what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, the number should give them
I think Josh said he's going to answer those calls because it's going through Google Voice, I believe. The number that he set up on his own voicemail messaging system that I think he's the only one that can access at the moment. That's why I think this is very much on him, but I'm pretty sure at some point it's going to become our problem. As to many things. So,
Okay. So is that all we really want for the Occuphone tonight?
I mean, does everybody know what the Occuphone is?
You want the phone number?
Yeah, sure.
It's 804
Let's call it.
396
Down
49
the iPhone.
4997.
I mean, can I call it and put it on speakerphone? Oh, but did you say it was just...
396-4997.
I got it if you want.
I'm going to ask about it after the meeting. 'Cause I don't know about it, but I don't need to know right now until everyone else does.
Thanks for calling the Occupy Richmond Occuphone Hotline. This for Monday, November 28th, includes Occupy City Hall, where we will meet at Richmond City Hall, located at 900 East Broad Street, downtown, for a city council meeting regarding a free speech encampment zone at Canala Plaza. Immediately following this meeting, we will move to Festival Park, located behind the Convention Center between 6th and 7th Streets, just north of Marshall Street, downtown, to hold a general assembly. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a message after the tone.
Hi, Josh.
Love you, Josh.
That's great.
Josh,
Yeah, it's an excellent idea. I just
Well, it was for yesterday too.
and now they call them
So-
today, and they're like, "Well, what's going on today? If anything." So it'd be some
You promoting the next GA.
what?
Is that the song you
Layla? I'm gonna say no.
I think she's been out of town. I think she might be, but she's just...
She was
I think
here
we might
today.
not agree.
She was here yesterday. I think she's more of an auxiliary.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It's okay. And other than, I'm not sure if she has any experience in like anything other than Facebook. I don't want to speak for her, but I'm not sure she has all.
So that's the Occupant. Woohoo!
So, does anybody know, like, is Josh bottom lining that?
As of right now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And is it
that's
going to be updated every day?
bingo.
Is that
Every
It should be advertising
Okay, 'cause
tomorrow's
so far-
GA.
I think
Yeah, exactly. It
Something-
hasn't been updated yet.
something like that needs to be. I feel like should probably be updated every 3 days with 3 days worth of activities in advance,
Okay.
or else we're just not going to be able to keep up with it. It's not, all it takes is one person call, and it's 2 days behind. They're like, well, they don't keep up with this, so why am I calling it?
Well, sometimes we don't even know the GA location until
Yeah, like
you know,
2
pretty
minutes
soon.
before it happens. Wow. I have a proofreader on the webpage. I'm posting one of Alan's blogs. It's just lit up in red.
Is that it about Occuphone? Are we moving on? Well, it's good to discuss updating it daily or every 3 days or something.
Again, it's something that I think Josh is spearheading. I would like to get his input on the.
What about the educational packet? What's the story with that?
I put that on there, and it stems from a conversation Laura and I had the other day. Apparently there are teachers, students, people writing papers about Occupy.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a lot of traction for this movement in academia, if I understand correctly.
That makes perfect sense.
And so something that could be sort of like a primary source for them to go to would be really useful. Of course, this would be different than the press kit, right? The press kit is more about like,
Right.
what's the superficial stuff you need to write about. This would be more like, sort of like, I mean, I think the way that I described it, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is kind of like at the beginning of our own history.
Yeah, and giving further contextualization for where our movement fits in American protest history.
Okay.
Excuse me, no. And also just really kind of reinforcing the fact that we have photo galleries, we have an archive, because when people are writing up their papers, they're gonna use less media sources as fillers for the paper, they're gonna use actual academic sources. So really trying to enforce kind of more of like a intellectual side of the movement, because the interest is already there. Like, I got an email yesterday from somebody from a think tank, like, and he wants to write, and this might actually keys in with the caucus, because he wants to interview people from the LGBTQ community. Sorry, correct me if I got that abbreviation wrong. Thanks. So it's within the movement. So it's interesting. People are already starting to create their own theories, and that's where this is getting so interesting because not only are people just talking about the immediate, feelings on social utilities, but you're going to have a lot more students in these larger universities and institutions referencing them, and authors writing about us within books. And if we can get people thinking about how Richmond is different on a theoretical platform from the rest of the country, or with the rest of the country, then, we're going to be further ingrained into the everyday rhetoric.
What examples would you
Cultural
say is
saturation.
different? What aspects would you say is different about Richmond?
The aspects that I think that are different, I think, well, personally, because I lived in New York for so long, and I think New York is all that really symbolic. Everybody had an ambition, everybody was putting forward their message, and everybody had their personal identity. Whereas I feel like Richmond is so interconnected, and everybody really, really cares about one another, and it's really there's a really humanistic element to the Richmond Occupy. It's really, really cool. Plus, we've been able to overcome certain challenges that other movements that are similar have not been able to. We were invited onto private property. Denver, who had a very similar issue, and Tulsa, who had a very similar issue, were not invited to private property. We're the only ones who've been able to do that, as I recall.
Atlanta is as well. They occupy the home of somebody that's about to be foreclosed.
Yeah.
Cool.
But still, we're at a high percentile
yeah.
on that,
Plus, we're smaller.
nonetheless.
That's such a cool idea, by the way.
That is a great idea. I love that.
Occupying
And remember,
homes.
I was just talking to a friend of mine from Lawrence, Kansas, their occupation completely fell apart. It's no longer there.
Right.
That happens.
It happens more than you know, because
Probably.
when
Discord?
I started.
Lawrence, Kansas?
Is it group Discord? Oh, I'm sorry, interrupting you.
No, go ahead.
Was it because of group Discord?
I only got certain details, but apparently there was strife within the group,
Yeah.
and I think there was a rape at some point.
Oh, jeez. Yep, that could do it.
Yeah, I started putting together a Twitter list when I started with Occupy,
Great.
and went back probably 2 weeks ago, because I was going to give it to somebody. Actually, somebody from my class was doing a paper on Occupy, and I was like, if I was going to just give it to him, be like, if you follow these, this will give you a good general overview, and half of them, just there was, they just don't exist anymore. They're gone.
One of my favorite artists, Ree Chicago, she did this really cool thing where she opened up her website as an educational forum, where it's really kind of self-seeking and whatever, but if you write a paper about her, submit it to her website. It's brilliant. It's called Through the Flower. It's awesome. And she actually, when I went to visit her at an artist residency, and I was just gushing about how much I loved her, I had written a 20-page paper about her in college, and she's like, submit it to my website. So I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, this person has created this archive of people talking about her to continue this idea of an academic forum of feminist writing and women's art. There's no reason why we can't do that. We can put out an open call or entry for local VCU students, University of Richmond, who, if they're writing papers that are about us or include us in it, and that they're sensitive to us academically, we should feel open and warm to that. So I think it's creating a policy or a new infrastructural element to that, because I had not did not even think about that until these emails came into my inbox.
So it almost sounds like this is really kind of an outreach thing. But maybe what we could do to not just completely punt, be to get this started and then hand it off to outreach. Be like, here's a resource for you. You guys change this as you see fit, but we're going to start directing people to you because if you're okay with that, because it seems like it's more your wheelhouse than ours.
Yeah. And Nate too, because we're working on that together.
Okay, so you already started this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So somebody's bottom line.
Yep.
Alright, what else do we got? Facts and questions on websites to help interface with interviewer. That's a good idea.
Like
I have one more question about Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
even though it might be one or two topics back. Has there been any problem with any of the movements around of people flooding their Facebook pages in order to try to sabotage their efforts? And it seems to me that it would be possible to do that, because all you have to do is like find a lot of people to like it.
The only thing that I know of, I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible if you had an organized enough group to do it. The only thing that I've heard of along those lines at all was San Diego or San Francisco. At one point, like oh god, I can't even tell. Time is so weird now. A while ago, at least a couple weeks ago, Anonymous had sent out videos to a bunch of different Occupy groups asking them to post them. And they were basically saying, you know, to the police, if you keep abusing protesters, we're going to find out who you are and we're going to publish your identities and we're going to make it hard for you, essentially. And they put it up on their Facebook, and then it got taken. There were so many complaints about it and how, you know, that it was a threat to the police and all that kind of stuff. But it got taken down, and then the Anons took over their Facebook page for a few hours. And that's the only thing that I've heard related to that at all.
Took over San Diego's Facebook page?
Yes. Took over their Facebook page for a few hours.
And is the Anons, are they an affinity group for?
Anonymous is a hacktivist collective, essentially. It's really, I guess, probably the best way you can
And it
describe
actually is quite anonymous, I take it.
Yeah.
4chan with a conscience, basically.
Yeah, essentially. It's 4chan with a conscience, yeah.
Is this
essentially.
San Diego?
It was either San Diego or San Francisco. I can't remember exactly. But I saw the video and then went back like a couple hours later to go look at the page, and I was like, what's going on? And that's when I realized, I was like, oh, they took over the page. Like they hacked it and took it over. So, and it was just kind of a like, you know, don't bend, essentially. They were just sending them a message. So,
Yeah.
but that's the only thing that I've heard of as far as Facebook pages being flooded or hacked or anything like that from any other groups.
So just coming up with some new revolutionary way of using Facebook
Yeah.
as a tool. Just coming up with something that nobody at Facebook's
Yeah.
never done before.
No, he was just asking about whether or not the Facebook pages had been flooded,
Right.
basically been repropagated, essentially.
Yeah, by somebody who wants to, like, you know, sabotage the ability of an occupation group to carry on their business through Facebook by just flooding it with, you know, post after post after post.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
one could actually do it, not, you know,
Yeah.
camouflaging it as looking like legitimate public interest activities too.
Yeah.
One thing that's really important, though, is for us, we have the Occupy Richmond section and the Everyone section, so that people can see what's actually coming from.
Right. The way that, well, that's the way the one page works, because the community page that we use to post all of our events and all that kind of stuff, there's actually two separate feeds. There's the feed that shows just the things that we post. And then there's a feed that shows everyone, which is everything that everybody else posts on there, along with what we post. So in order to do that, they'd essentially have to hack us, which is not,
Yeah, you know,
not impossible.
but I for one didn't know that you could just look at the official ones, and there are probably lots of other people in the movement that don't know that too.
See, this is a problem too that we really we haven't figured out how to address. Which one are you looking at? When you see the icon, you know, when the when you look at the page, the icon, the picture, what is it? Is it the logo with the steps, or is it the red, white, and blue lettering?
All I know is it's the one with the colorful tints.
That's the
That's the
website.
red-
Oh no, I don't remember.
Hold on.
I mean, I go to Occupy. I guess I type in Occupy Richmond, has a betting field, and 9,000 likes, I think.
Yeah, that's the pyramid.
Is it that?
What comes up when I type in Occupy Richmond?
Why are there two pages?
Oh, they changed it. Now they're the same.
Because basically they created a person page.
Yeah, so you can
so
tag
that-
them.
So that the person page could create the event or the
See, there's these.
the
are two
organization page. I call it person profile. That way the person profile can create the page for Occupy Richmond. That way it's never
one of
an
them's a
issue of
person
someone
page and one of
owning
them's
that
like
page
the
or
actual
being able to track back to one
Do you want that to
particular
be
person that
different?
created the Occupy Richmond
It
organization
should
page.
say something. We
Also,
should be able to
there's
differentiate.
certain
should be
things that
easier
a
to
person
differentiate.
profile
Oh,
can
here
do
it
that
is.
a page
This
can't.
is the other page.
Yeah.
And that allows us to do have the beauty of both worlds.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it gets very confusing.
Yeah, I realized I tagged one, the wrong one time.
And
No,
of course, Facebook just they're so
it-
they don't understand
Yeah, it won't
the
happen.
way to use their own software, their own
We're not big enough
website.
for that yet.
Yeah.
That they don't understand how cumbersome a lot of that stuff is. I don't understand why people like to use Facebook so much, but nevertheless, you gotta go with they are, right? Alright. As far as what was the on the agenda as far as
Hold on.
I have it. Media work group budget needed within 2 weeks.
For what purpose?
Well, there's the finance group now who really has
Can I
created,
actually do a budget?
yeah, they've created a PayPal, whatever it's called,
We pay.
We Pay, and, yeah, creating a budget proposal so that it's for every worker.
are they actually getting donations from that link?
Last I checked, it was $40.
No, it's up slowly. It's gone up, I'm not sure what exactly, but it is going up slowly.
Well, I think it's a responsibility for media. At least once a week, we kind of remind people that it exists. Particularly on Friday when they get paychecks. Just saying, hey guys, $1 or $2 goes a long way. Just donate button.
740 now.
Are you shitting?
Whoa.
Oh,
Really?
140. I think 740.
I thought that's what you said too. Wow.
Yeah.
Word! Forget about that. We don't need to remind anybody.
That's not quite my job.
When I went to Wall Street Occupy back day after Halloween, there was a financials that came up, and they brought somebody up from finance because they didn't know if they had enough money to spend $8,000 to register a domain name, and they said, "Well, we have $426,000 in our bank account right now."
Wall Street?
Yeah, and that was on, and that was before they were going to get this very useful domain name, which would probably greatly increase. So
What I think we can try to do is get some money from them.
We should.
I mean, it should be.
For real.
I mean,
They offered to give other occupations money because they had like too much
They
tax
sent-
problems or
They,
something.
they sent 15 grand to Oakland for new tents when they got evicted.
shit, buy a lot of
I think
tents.
they have
What are you talking
Well,
about?
I'll tell you what, we lost
$300-400
$8,000 worth of stuff at Kanawha. So it's, I mean,
It rings up fast.
yeah.
this sounds like a pledge. I mean, it sounds like a possible letter for fiscal support.
We
that
can.
put out.
We should definitely use that avenue if this is still available.
But we should definitely have a
I
very
have no
spec-
shame in asking for money.
We should have a very specific use for it if we're going to ask
Oh yeah, I mean we have we're all broke.
There is that.
And
Um,
we're constantly racking up legal fees. We have no money for food. We're entirely dependent on the meager donations that we're getting
Yeah.
at camp for food. I mean, the camp's
Hey,
meals
Forsyth's
consist of
working hard.
and
We
they say
go
we're
dumpster
we're
diving
I mean,
every night.
they say we're essentially dumpster diving for our
Nothing
stuff,
wrong with
which
that.
which is working
We
so
have to
far,
take that off the
but
website though, because that's
I mean,
illegal.
yeah, I already took care of that. But I mean, we should be. I would like to see some financial things, and there's things that are going to come up that we're not aware of right now that we're going to need that money for.
So, but then also the actual backbone of an actual budget proposal, which is a very different thing. It's asking for a certain amount of money for specific needs, you know, in a kind of, I mean,
well, as far as media is
right?
concerned, we need to buy some flip cams again.
Yeah.
Because those things I think we've all agreed or have vanished.
okay, so
and
how much are
look-
flip cams?
Um,
Yeah, I really wish I could account to Yarrow for what happened to those. I feel horrible for that.
How many did we have originally?
I had like 6, right?
Yarrow brought us like 6. Somebody else brought a couple.
So it was 8.
We had 8, like 8. Yeah. We had a bunch.
And they're how much each?
I'm looking right now.
I'm looking at one that's 8 gigs for $150, but I don't think it's the same brand. Yeah, actually it is the Flip Cam. Yeah, I'm looking at
So let's just can we do like 80 or 90? About.
I'm looking
You
at
can get 'em-
a 4 gig for $45. So you know.
Yeah.
So 4 gig for 45 each.
Actually, that's refurbished. Sorry. Which I mean, hey, if they're selling refurbished ones, by all means.
So $45 each.
Yeah, between 45 and 65.
45 and 65. Let's go with 50. 50 times 8.
400.
Yeah, these are the ones. He brought a couple of these silver ones and a couple of these black ones.
So we're at $400. What else do we need for media?
Money to print flyers and stickers. I ordered more stickers, but
And how much was that, Ira? If you could put that into
there was a sale, so I got 1,000 for $20, so we won't need this for a while. But that's a sort of like, usually I spend like $20 or $30 printing out flyers or whatever.
How often do you do that?
Whenever there's a major event, so probably like once a month. It's not that expensive, but I do think we need to put some money in the budget for that, because I don't have
No,
much
yeah,
more.
no, yeah.
And then how about, like, we've been having a lot of meetings and we get food each time. Like, I mean, it's awesome. Like, I feel like we've really, like, rely on each other for that. But, I mean, maybe we should put some money aside for, like, meeting spaces, or is that just on everybody individually? What do you think?
I don't know how I feel about that, just because we do have a kitchen, and I feel like they should, like, if we're gonna ask for money, we should go to the kitchen first. And I don't know, I feel
Yeah,
so
that's
uncomfortable
something
with
that, I mean, you know, like if we're getting together, I don't mind, I don't mind at all contributing, some money to make sure that we can have like pizza and like,
So it's on us.
that's a little different, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just like putting it out there.
Because if I wasn't here, I'd be home eating. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah, no, I know. So flip cams, flyers, stickers for print. Anything else that I can think of right now?
Did we get a modem for the?
Oh, speaking of,
Yeah.
we do have a modem and a router, and apparently the old modem just come back to life.
Really?
And at least this is what BJ said. I haven't had the time to really investigate this, but he says all we need is the login information for the account, the Clearwire account.
Maybe it got wiped.
The Clearwire account got shut off.
Well, it's a completely different router. I don't know.
Wait a minute, are you talking about the modem?
The original
information?
modem.
The original modem, the big white one, is...
No.
That's a router.
That's a router.
That's different.
The modem is the black one.
The modem is the brand new, is the new one that was just donated.
Oh, okay.
The router,
Mm-hmm.
the big white router, has managed to come back to life, according to BJ.
I see.
He says that we just need a new login for the modem.
Yeah, somebody needs to reset it.
Yeah. And I don't know anything about that, so
Okay.
I put my hands up with that.
I need to go get my tent anyway, so I'm gonna go back to the camp at some point anyway.
So are we asking for about 500?
I will say though, the way they're keeping camp right now, the 6 people that are kind of staying there, I'm not even hesitant to set up the internet there. I went by their media tent today, and it was pretty much knocked down, and they just didn't even bother picking it up. They just threw a sheet of plastic over the table to keep the electronics from getting wet. So, and they kept the booster, which, oh, by the way, we have a booster now. It was out in the rain. So, I'm hesitant, and if they already got it wet once, being neglectful, I'm really hesitant to have that out there again like
We
that.
gotta get off the booth properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
The people,
I ask about that.
the people that are at camp right now are just, I'm sorry to say, I love them to death, but they're not responsible enough to keep control of that camp.
But we have a modem and we have a router for the next occupation.
Yes, and we all,
So that's, we've covered the base.
yeah,
Right.
and I have everything you hand me in that bag. I still have in my tent. I haven't even set that stuff up. But I mean, so we have, and if that's true what he says about the router coming back to life, then we have 2 routers theoretically. If that, which, and I don't even know why the original modem didn't work, because it didn't even get wet. I don't even know why it's not working at all, but it.
That's
Look at me.
I'm not looking at you. I'm just.
I have no
It's
fucking
ridiculous. Yeah.
Like, I just turned it on and it didn't even, the green lights didn't even.
Yeah,
It
I
just
know.
stayed green.
I know.
I was like,
Oh, good.
why?
And the Ethernet wasn't working either. Like, there was
Yeah.
no connection. Like, it didn't recognize that it was connected by
Something.
Ethernet.
I mean,
Something
it
happened
might have
one
just
way or
gotten a
another.
little bit wet in the wrong place. If that's, I mean, and that's entirely plausible. But when I picked up the
I think it just shorted it out.
when I picked up the modem, I mean it water. I mean the router water poured out of it, whereas the modem felt dry all around.
So budget about 430.
Let's round off about 5.
I put 5.
Sorry, you might have brought this up already, Ira, but does that include like flyering or
Yeah.
like brochure stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I put 30, but let's put down like 50.
Yeah, that's safer. I mean, I really just like print what I can, and that's why you guys don't see a lot of it, because I'm getting a small amount. 50's
Cool.
probably safer.
Yeah. And then maybe on the
Tea
proposal
lot.
as well, we can also mention what we get donated. You know, we're always open to donations, not just buying new flip cans, but if there are ones that are used that when people want to donate, that we're open to that as well.
I mean, the way it makes sense to me is I would like to speak to, like, have a financial group meeting with a representative from each working group to really discuss how funds are being allocated amongst the, because right now they're going into one account, and there's no real, oversight as far as to who's getting what money for
And the
what
people from
reasons.
finance don't even admit they're in finance. Like, I was like, I'm gonna make you guys armbands, and they're like, no, don't do
At the
that.
same time, though, I think Dave.
This occupier carries less than $50 in cash.
Just have a shirt I carry. Like
Well, yeah, it's so true. It's true because like every worker wants like a certain amount of money, right? And they also have these overarching GA needs for like
I was thinking
lawyer
perhaps
costs and legal funds and shit like that.
I was thinking perhaps a percentage structure where, yeah, like media gets 10% of the donations, food gets 25% of the donations, and however you want to distribute it. But I don't see why that would be a problem.
Really?
As long as you keep a certain percentage to just general fund, or the shits and giggles fund.
How we get the money flowing in, you know? It's
Yeah,
not
that's why. That way
corporate.
we can count on there being a certain amount of money allocated towards us at any given time, and it's fair to everyone else that we're not getting a larger share than we're supposed to.
My only thought about that is that we're gonna have to make sure that we account for that money.
Which I mean, we can get. I think they can.
You can trust me.
Well,
I don't. We have to be able to provide receipts. You know what I mean? We just have to be able to say this is exactly where this
I've
money's
constantly
going.
pushed the gift card idea where
Mhm.
you can get it. You can have a gift card. You can take the money out of the account, put it on a gift card, give it to one of us. All of our transactions will be kept on record through that gift card. And I mean, it's not like we're pocketing the 20 cents in change. It's still all there. It's all accounted for to the penny. Without actually having somebody carry around cash. Because I mean, someone's handed me $20 before for a donation, and when I pulled the money out of my pockets, I had $27, and I'm sitting like, wait, what did they give me, 25 or 20? And I didn't know what was mine anymore, you know. So, I mean, I think we should try to be I think that,
Yeah,
That
most
would be
credit
the
card
best way.
companies do like prepaid credit cards now or whatever.
Right.
So like it's
I would be
you
interested to know
businesses
if
run on
there's
credit
any,
cards.
if there's any credit union equivalents to that. I'd hate to use Visa
Mhm.
or MasterCard or any of that. I think that's kind of hypocritical of us.
Well, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's just a prepaid card, so it's just money on a card. It's not. It's
Visa's
not-
still getting something out of that.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times they have like really punitive fees and stuff like that.
Because you gotta pay an activation fee
No,
at the very least.
Transaction charge.
Their names on it, they're getting some.
Yeah, they're not going to do it for free just out of the goodness of their hearts.
No,
They're
I mean,
making
I've
something.
used
An Occupy
this,
card.
this whole move your money thing.
You're a
is
financial
no-
clearinghouse network.
Yeah. The whole move your money idea is, I'm not new to that. I spent a lot of years using as many different kinds of alternative
I mean, do you know of
measures as possible.
Do you know of any like credit union alternatives or
I don't know about credit union.
Even credit
Credit
union
union
uses Visa.
But I have a credit union debit card and it's still Visa.
Yeah, same. It's same with me, but
Well, Visa. Visa is almost like is almost itself like a credit union because it's not. It's Visa is not a company. It's all of these companies have decided that they work together for this specific purpose, essentially.
interesting.
So, which is why
So it's more of a
everybody
conglomerate.
accepts Visa, and why like MasterCard and the rest of them are different. So
So it's more of a conglomerate
Yeah.
than a corporation.
yeah,
Interesting.
it's
I did not know that.
different than American Express or.
That's why. Okay, I've always wondered why Visa is on everything. Like, it makes sense now. It's like, damn, they got some good deals going on somehow. Well,
That was everything on our agenda.
Yay.
see how we just blew through all that?
Well,
But, I mean, we
skipped the messaging.
yeah.
What about there are website improvements and well, Josh isn't here to speak to whatever was going on with the Facebook updates.
Yeah.
Actually, I can tell you what he said about that. There's a lot of people posting a lot. We counted like 7 posts in like the course of a couple hours, which is fine, but like it's a lot of it was not that important, and I worry, and he worries that it's gonna push stuff that's important down. Also, we're still doing a lot of we're not using grammar and punctuation and stuff like that like we should be. I think that's probably one person that's
I
not
was gonna say,
here.
that's a certain person.
Yeah,
not
so
us.
I mean, we just need to like keep talking to that person.
And I
and-
discovered why too, because it's being posted through a cell phone and not a
Oh,
computer.
okay.
And when you're typing a Facebook message using the BlackBerry, you're probably not going to have proper
But
punctuation
yeah, I
and
think mostly
capitalization.
he just wanted to say like we need to sound as official as possible, and we
Dave.
need to not post
You're a
like
bully.
constantly. Like at least like post once an hour. Don't post like 7 times an hour.
Yeah, and
you know?
that's what I mentioned that last
Keep up.
meeting that we
Yeah.
should try to limit the posts we make to at least as minimal as possible, so that we don't drown out ourselves. Because I've had streams on my page, on my personal page, of organizations that I've liked that I've blocked from my wall, even though I'm totally interested. I totally get what they're going for. I'm just tired of seeing them every
Right.
20 minutes. You know, I don't care, and I feel like a lot of that's happening with us because we're blowing them up with with 6
Facebook
posts
is not
about
Twitter.
yeah, it was 6 posts about the same thing,
Right.
which I'm entirely guilty of doing, but just because I don't know of any other way to get the message out.
Twitter.
Really, I hate Twitter.
If you feel that it's that necessary to repost it that many times, do it
Mhm.
to Twitter. They don't care.
Well, I've never used Twitter ever, but I mean I will definitely start using that more often for that purpose because I want to steer away from re-blowing up
Okay,
Facebook.
so that last night, I posted the thing that said it's not too late to come out and show your support. Like something like that where it was posted before the event and then I posted the event again and said it's not too late, you can still come. Was that like an issue?
No.
I think that was I was
No,
going to do it
because that's
myself.
specifically to, like, that's present, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the
And
Facebook
it's-
right now has, like, listen to this post. Okay, so this Sunday's GA will be held at the Friends Meeting House at 5 p.m. We are thankful for this space. We are working on new places as well. Like, it just has a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's really long, and that the post before that says, we're fairly sure that the Friends Meeting House will be our GA place this Sunday again. Like, and then before that, like, there's other things posted, like, oh, here's something, and here's something, and I don't even know what half of it is. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now. I'm just like,
yeah, I don't think that was anyone here, but I think if we all bring it to the individuals that are
You guys
doing
look at it.
then-
You guys look at Facebook so completely good.
I mean,
Stuff so
Um,
completely differently.
well, I mean, I'm all for. I love posts that are this long because that means all your information is going into one post. But the average Facebook viewer is not going to sit there and read all that crap.
It can be more concise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why using Twitter is good. It will teach you how to be concise. 140 characters is merciless.
At least as a training.
I mean, that's why I love the if we could try to use Twitter as the oh shit it's happening type thing. Facebook as the come out today, come out tomorrow, and then the website is on Friday there's this happening.
Right.
Or yesterday this happened. I mean, and that's what I've always viewed, even before I've always viewed Facebooks and Twitters as a difference of time frame, not as for anything else. Oh yes.
Are we just about done?
Yeah, I'm drawing. I'm checked out a little bit. Maybe.
Do y'all just want to save the messaging discussion to next week, or?
I think we actually hashed out some stuff on that, and there's more to do, but like I feel like a lot of the issues that it was originally addressing have sort of like they're water under the bridge now.
The only thing I'd want any kind of clarification on is if we do get an email from an outside media source, if it's going to a Gmail account, for our, for us, media, if it's going to Gmail media, but it's also going to, like, individuals, like, how are we setting that priority as to who should be tackling that correspondence and who shouldn't be?
My understanding is that Rich is going to make us a list of contacts, and then that's on us to start going through that list. But he's at least going to bubble it up to our attention.
So if we get the list, then we just break it up evenly within people who are willing to write emails back, or to who's most appropriate. Can we get that list by, like, the next meeting?
I mean,
Yeah.
I have full confidence in the people that do speak to the media as of now that are sending the right message. I haven't seen anybody that, like, God, get them away from that reporter.
No, this is not about. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not about unconfidence. It's not about not being confident. It's about prioritize.
Process.
The structure.
It's about process and prioritizing who we respond to first, or who are we, how are we responding to that person immediately within the 24 hours? For example, that the guy from DC, he wanted something in his own time frame. He's like, can I get an interview with one of you on Tuesday, which is today? I sent him an email, and I said, I'm going to bring this information to the media work group meeting Tuesday night and discuss this further with the group. But that didn't happen, right? So it's okay. Like, it was handled today. I understand, but I don't think there's any issue with waiting a bit until we have all the information clear and the statement clear.
Either that, or if it's something that you find and you're like, wow, we should really probably talk to this person right away, just send it through the Google, the group email that sends out the mass emails to everybody. If you forward it to that, then everybody gets it. And it seems like when that's happened in the past, somebody has been like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And then they just do it and it's done.
Okay, so this is policy number 1. When then something comes through, we send it to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So, for example, if there's emails right now in the Gmail account, everybody should have that email in the work group. So if it isn't to everybody, we should make sure it is.
Yeah, you're on it, right?
I'm
you get
on.
the Google group.
Uh-huh.
I know I was on it.
Let me make
William's
sure
on it.
that
I'm on the
I know
wiki.
how to. I don't
I'm
think
not really in this group yet, although I'm waiting towards wanting to join, but that's
I don't-
another issue.
I've never used it, so
Yeah, I'm on.
I might need a little.
Maybe I'll join. Maybe I won't.
I know Alex and Josh were both on it.
Which Google group?
Okay, so I
Media.
see
The
here with.
wiki?
No.
No, the Google group.
Oh,
All
I'm
right,
not
so
on.
right here, this is the all the people you would email.
We'll remedy that.
Okay.
We need to. Let me see. What? Is that
So
the
these
group?
are the members.
Those are the members of the group.
Apparently.
We need to pare that group down because half of those
Who's
people.
John Breeden?
That's what I'm saying. And I've gotten responses back from people that I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I've never seen you at a media meeting, and you're like you're being a condescending douchebag.
Like Connie,
So-
Katie Bonner. I haven't seen her since
Yeah.
the first
Since
3
the
days.
first
Yeah, we
meeting.
need to pare that down.
Josh Lerm,
Who is
Joshua Sullivan,
Yeah, we
Sounds
need
like
to
an
pare
informant.
that down.
Earl Lane, David. Yeah, I mean, I don't. These are joined October 11th.
So in our messaging policy, we are, as we talked about before, we are distinguishing between a messaging policy for emails and the messaging policy for Twitter or
Social
Facebook.
media.
It's social media, thank you, because they are two different animals.
Yes.
All right. All right. So let me just so I can better understand the Google groups because again I've never used it before. I enter into Google Groups. Where do I go to say if I want to send that mass email?
You're
just-
getting it
you
in
just
your email.
Start
Yeah.
a new discussion.
Where?
Go to your email, your personal email.
Or you can do
So let's look. That one I sent to you specifically. Media request, Occupy Jeremy, right here. That's coming from
Jeremy.
Oh no.
That's from the media team.
Yeah, no, go back.
There it is. That's one for the Google Groups.
That's it.
Okay.
That's the if you send it to that address from your email, it'll go out to everybody.
Which address?
So you don't have
So
to
I emailed that Occupy Richmond media at googlegroups.com and that goes to everybody.
everybody.
Good to know.
Wait.
I will
that. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out and let you know.
I'll send you a well you have to get an invite. You gotta get an invite to the group.
No, yeah, I'll get back to the group. I just want to write down the policy. Make sure email gets out to everyone by starting a discussion on the Google group, or just
Just send me just forward it to the Google group email address.
Yeah,
The-
I'll give it to you. Ready? Occupy Richmond -media at googlegroups.com.
Right.
I don't even see myself in
at
this group. I
googlegroups.com.
don't even see myself in this group list.
Is there another? So we have so many members in there that there's more than one page?
Oh, it is. Wow.
So let's
We need to do something about that.
fix that. So for the
There I am.
So messaging policy, we make sure the email gets out to everyone by forwarding the email to occupyrichmond-media at googlegroups.com. That ensures that everyone knows we're on the same page, and that way we don't have to wait for a media meeting to bring up emails of importance.
Yeah, that's happened in the past where people have just forwarded it to that, and one of us is like, okay, I'll do that, and we call or we whatever, and it's done.
Yeah.
So.
Who's the Piscillia?
She just had back surgery.
Okay, 'cause she's just sent 4 emails to the print email address, which, by the way, y'all know there's a print email address been established, right? Y'all have the
Oh, I
password.
didn't know that.
This is
It's the same password.
iCarRichmond.print, and it's the same password as the other iCar Richmond media. It's on the wiki.
How you doing, sir?
It's for the password page. So it shouldn't be an issue. Just keep an eye on that. Let me know, and if that happened to haven't respond to the person, let me know that there's a op-ed that's been posted in there if you happen to see it. And I'll tackle all that.
Is Jeanette Nelson a real person? Because she posts a lot on
Who?
Facebook. Jeanette Nelson. Anybody?
What is her?
She posts shit ton of stuff.
I recognize the pictures that they had there.
She's a cat.
No, but she posts a shit ton of, I mean, good stuff, but just a lot. And it usually, a lot of it ends up in the hidden posts.
I'm surprised. I haven't seen a lot of our old familiar trolls lately.
Can we just jump back to the
Yeah, I
listing
wonder
policy
what
really
happened.
quick
I'm worried about
before
them.
I
I hope they're okay.
So we have make sure email gets out to everyone by forwarding the email to occupiedmedia.google. Anyway, I'm sorry, I keep saying these to rehash it. 2, start a discussion, because what if, for example, a particular email is for a national agenda? We got to start thinking about, like, I mean, we can't just be sending out generic emails. So when we say to someone directly, hey, can you handle this email? Does this person in our group understand the context of this particular media group that we're writing to? Like, for example, I don't think I could tackle this argument about tax auditing or auditing because, I mean, I personally don't know the lingo, but somebody else in this group does. But I should be sending an email to somebody who has a question about, you know, the cultural implications or my personal values in this movement.
I mean, I'm thinking wrong with, you know, like, say you get a response like for today, that email address, that email that was sent to me that I responded to was addressed to me. It said William, and then I was like, okay, so this person wants to hear from me specifically, and that's why. And then I was confused by that, so I called that number to find out why she wanted to hear from me specifically.
Oh, you mean the DC one?
Yes,
I mean, it was sent to me too.
well, it was addressed to me. It said William. Like, I don't know, she might personalize it for me, but
That's what I was talking. I mean, that's what I was talking about. It was sent to me like yesterday.
yeah, and I didn't know that was what you would, because when you called me, I hadn't seen the email what you were talking about yet, and then I got the new one that morning. Either way,
Well, beyond that point, it's just that, like, you know, it's, I would have had rather see that email right now in the hands of us tonight talking about it, because,
Step on my shoe.
I mean,
and
it's a moderate conservative paper that politicians read in DC. Like, that's the audience. Like, the fact is that the article's out now,
That's
and
the last audience we should be worried about, though.
well,
we still want to
What?
be careful on what
So
who's
that's the
reading.
last audience we should be worried about, though.
No, we should still be mindful.
I'm not
If
worried.
nothing else, you could like clip it and show it to other people though. It's like it has a certain cachet.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm kind of.
I read the article. He already gave
Okay,
it to us.
okay.
I mean, I can send it to all. I'll send it to all to you tonight. Now that I know the policy.
Yeah, she sent me. I read it myself. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I did.
pretty fair.
So the article is about. It's not unsympathetic, which I was very worried about because he was obviously looking for a loophole and he wanted to see that tax dollars were being put towards Occupy and not to the Tea Party. Luckily for us, it was framed in a pretty fair way, and he also made mention that we were able to move on to private property and to Mr. Boone's property, which is a key thing because he's obviously solidified that that's something unique about the Richmond Occupy movement. I just want us to think more strategically going forward. That's all. Because ultimately we can gain more control of the public discourse if we think about each email as they come in. Is this email from a VC professor? Okay, who's going to handle the VC professor? Is this email from a DC paper? Okay, who's going to be able to handle that? Okay, is this media source a nobody that we don't care about, or is it somebody we care about? We need to start thinking about that. That's all I care about, really, because I really want to see this I want to see us come off a little more sophisticated.
Okay. I definitely think local media should be top priority. Simply because we're mostly worried about people here in Richmond. Those are the people that we want to communicate with the most. That's our pool in which to communicate to. I think, and those are the ones that we should tackle immediately because they usually have deadlines that come in up in about 2 hours. You know, if we don't get that message out or at least respond immediately, you know, then it's not even come back to them tomorrow.
So can we get a feel for that? Does everybody agree that we should make local media a top priority in returning emails or phone calls, and because of their immediate requirements? Are we okay with that? Okay, so priority 1 in that discussion of agenda is local media,
Yes.
and that includes news stations or news interviews.
Yes.
And I know this gets hard. I know it gets complicated because we have so much else going on, right? I mean, plus we have, like you said, like bubbles and happening on Facebook where there's too much information happening at once or whatever. But hopefully that's what comes out of this discussion. Is just like, so that's good. And then what's second? Secondary, national, state.
I would think. I mean, the other ones we don't get so many of them. We can really that we have to. I feel like we have to.
They're like special cases.
Yeah, I feel like we get the national ones, even if they're predominant papers. They come so few and far between that we can kind of group them all together between blogs, big and small, online publications, big and small.
No. What are you doing? No. Are you kidding me? Worst behavior today.
My cat too.
My lime, dude.
He's
Stole
excited.
chicken from me.
Are you kidding me?
Occupied.
Little pizza
Yeah, little
clown.
animals are little creatures.
But,
And I know that they're more rare. I think that's,
You like pizza.
I mean, the point is that we're getting national headline.
I mean,
Right?
We got
aren't ignoring them when they come through
alternate.
that I know of.
What was the moderate
Wait,
conservative
what?
newspaper?
Yeah.
We
Did
aren't
alternate ever reach out
I'm
to
not
us?
sure.
Yeah, I talked to alternate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they put us on a top 3 list or something like that.
Yeah. I wasn't sure how much primary reporting they did.
They did an article about the raid.
Of course they did. That was our moment in spotlight.
I mean,
Yay, we're impressed.
I mean, we're not doing anything right now that would require that would warrant national news
Maybe Washington Town.
to come. We've already occupied
We need it.
the mayor's next door neighbor. That was a story for about a couple of days. Now even the local media couldn't care less about that.
So is our job to construct events that are newsworthy, or for the news to choose what they think is
We haven't
newsworthy?
had an event that we have really needed to put a news press release. I've noticed that our press releases are effective in getting the news to pay attention, come out and see that. Every time I put a press release out for an event that's about to happen, they show up. And so I think those are effective, but I haven't had anything to tell them to come see.
We're gonna push the 10th. The 10th is our next big
Yes.
event, so everybody
Yeah.
push the 10th.
I'm just waiting for the finalization of that idea and
Yeah,
everything that's
I
gonna happen.
have everything that they've decided on, well, most of the stuff they've decided on doing written down. Like,
Where is this going to happen?
There's some of it that they're not.
They're meeting on buses.
Yeah, there's some of it that they're not putting out ahead of time, right?
No,
they have it back. I think pretty much everything is going out ahead of time for the 10th.
Oh, really?
They're thinking about planning maybe another event for the 3rd that we don't want to, that we don't want to mention on film, because it may have a high risk of event. Is that backwards?
Is
I don't know.
No, I'm not saying that what you're saying is backwards.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
It's
that.
like they want to really
That-
push for the
There
10th,
might
but
be
maybe they
something
pull something off
specifically
too.
happening on the 3rd.
Right. If you want to do something on the 3rd, you got
I don't know.
5 days to start.
What?
third is.
I don't know though.
I don't.
Yeah, like I actually legitimately don't know what's happening on
The second is also
Yeah,
the
like
second
high risk.
forum preparation of ECU.
Cool.
Wow.
Second of
For real?
October.
Yeah, which nobody
Oh, yeah,
is.
December. No one
What's
knows
up?
about that.
You know the education forum they had at VCU?
Yeah.
On the 2nd this week, the professors are holding another meeting they want to facilitate a second
It's not
one.
even. It's not even an event yet on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's just
there we go.
it's just a planning meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to that.
Oh, cool.
That's different
That,
then.
yeah, you
Talk
scared me there for a
about
second.
Caucus. stuff.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
Well,
Yeah.
we need to.
Well,
It's not a big deal quite yet. They're still planning on when it's gonna be.
Yeah, at VCU, right? The VCU forum.
Yeah, they're not sure whether it's gonna be at VCU yet or not.
Wait, is this the one that professors are doing?
Yeah, Liz Canfield, Mark
Yeah.
Wood.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's but I mean, still, it's probably gonna happen soon.
They were actually planning on December 10th,
Oh really?
but now they think they're gonna do it some other time because December 10th is actually graduation date.
Mm.
So that's gonna like mess
Yeah,
a
this
lot
is
of
like
things.
conflicts.
Yeah, but
Isn't
that whole
the
week.
statewide solidarity day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also
But that's
Human
not
Rights
Human
Day.
Rights Day.
It's
It's kind
so
of
it's
a day of
in-
action, so.
And that whole week before.
Rude of VCU to graduate.
That whole week
Seriously.
before, I'm doing workshops with Vivian's students, like at VCU. So she
Yeah.
wants it to be like
What's
them
Buffy?
preparing for the day of action.
Mhm.
So I mean, that's great. There's gonna be people there. There are gonna be people there.
Hey,
Rumble office.
oh shit, it's 2 hours ago. Never mind. But Santos posted on Facebook. Speaking of tonight, Glenn Beck on Glenn Beck TV is talking about the Richmond Tea Party and Occupy Richmond cage match.
Oh
Exclamation
my
point.
god.
Going on right now, and he just
You
provided
think
a
it
link.
couldn't get even more of a
Let's
drum
have
it
a
does.
boxing match.
Well, this
Can we
is
could
hard.
be
A public
event.
wrestling, wrestling.
And you know
league to
what?
push them
Because
along.
people. Oh my
Dude, that'd be
god.
awesome.
Let's get this press release out
Yeah.
pronto.
Tea
They
Party
want
versus
to.
Richmond, like
They
dress
want
up
a
and like
fight.
box
Do
and
this?
things.
I posted.
want
Let's just do a press
posted
release saying
quick
you love
draft
them.
on
Yeah.
No, we should
Let's
dress up in the big
propose
sumo suits.
Yeah. It'll
And
be
just,
a
like,
joke that,
sit on
every
each other.
people will be like, oh, you can hate each other.
Yeah. I mean, we could probably get some like liberal commentators to really make a plucky comic thing about it.
Someone call Keith
Okay.
Olbermann, get Glenn back down here, have them sit next to each
No, are you
other.
serious?
I'm-
We should set
Right.
it up.
Oh, and then
I'm
guess who
really- I'm
referees? We could have somebody
serious.
dress up as a mayor. Referee. It's like, look at these guys, we got them together! Like, the fight of the century for you, to distract you from all the problems we're
I'm
creating.
pretty sure we both end up hitting the mayor.
Shall we serve tea at this
So-
event?
It's just like in WWF where they take out the referee and then
Yeah,
like go
Timing
and then go like
for
hit him with the
next
chair.
VCU thing, they actually call themselves the Chai Party.
Really?
Yeah,
Hilarious.
the professors.
Aw.
Well,
Referee didn't see nothing.
the Chai Party?
Yeah, the Chai Party.
I like that.
I posted a quick paragraph for
Woohoo!
like just a quick thing. I need someone to build it up and add some comedy because I think a press release with comedy in this situation would be pretty
Comedy
awesome.
affairs.
Yeah.
I think the press release should specifically address the fact that like this is a media created issue.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
If we have a wrestling event, we can bring the media there for it and be like, look guys, this is obviously a joke.
Oh, this-
We're wrestling
Oh
each
my
other,
God.
you
This
know.
needs
like,
to happen.
so-
I really
I mean,
should
stop
this
waiting
needs
for
to
news to
happen.
happen.
Tea
Let's
Party
just
can
make
wear
it
like a
happen.
tricorn
You know what?
hat,
I think
and we can wear like some really like heady clothes.
I'm all about ignoring the whole
Some patchwork
the
shit.
Tea Party issue. I've been so adamant about just saying I don't care about it because it has nothing to do with us. But now the media is forcing this on us.
That's what they've started doing in the beginning. That's why we should have gotten in front of this.
And
I said that in the media tent.
I remember. I remember.
Okay.
And I disagreed with you then, but now I'm like, all right, fine, we'll talk about it.
I just don't want to see the story given any more kick, and I'm afraid that
We're
almost
gonna-
anything we do is going to give it more kick.
Well, no,
That's
we're gonna
exactly
deal with it
what I
now
want.
by beating
If we
somebody
just,
up.
like-
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a public
No,
fight.
but if we
Seriously.
We
give
feel
it
like
to
if
the
somebody's
kids,
ass
I
gets
don't wanna
kicked,
kick,
then we
right?
address it.
Yeah, Like, it's such a joke. Like, nobody can possibly take
Yeah.
us seriously in sumo suits.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's
but
just a bunch of people like bumping big bellies,
But
like.
then when the news comes
Poor
to
Tim
watch
would
this
love
big
that.
fight we're gonna have,
Maybe we
just
should
be
do
like a
that.
peace
Maybe we should
protest.
just issue a press release that just completely makes fun of the media.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, we're gonna show up in sumo suits
Yeah.
to meet with the Tea Party so that we can have it out.
so wait.
Stay cool.
So that we can have it out. Just like the media wants to see.
You guys, so really epiphany. Look, like this. I mean, this media thing that we're sending out is. I mean, we didn't even think about tactics. I mean, ultimately, do they want us to come back with some kind of intense statement about how serious we are about? I mean, or what is the best way
The
to
best
get them to shut the fuck
way
up?
the best way to deal with it is to say, we think that the city should have given the Tea Party their money back. We think that if they are being targeted by the city for having criticized them, that is a terrible, terrible thing. And this is that trying to create any kind of dissension between the Tea Party and Occupy is a media event. This is for the media. This is not between the media.
What he said.
This is not between Occupy and the Tea Party. So we're going to give them a media event. And we're going to put on some sumo suits and show up and wrestle. And you guys can come down and video it and put it on your newscast.
So we're actually
And the
making.
Tea Party's so bad at
We
honoring
should
you.
just
Like, this
make
is a great
fun of them.
education.
No,
for-
seriously, we should just make fun of the media. Just
Yes.
make fun of them.
I mean, I'm all for anything that involves a good mind fuck. But what I'm concerned about is the facts behind it. The Tea Party.
I'm not
I mean,
saying we say they're definitely being targeted. I'm saying we say if.
If is fine. It's just
Dude, you
by.
gotta get rid of the city.
But if here's the.
I was gonna say something. You guys were.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think one reason that we're responding the way we are is because it's very late and we're more apt to like appreciate the giddiness of a certain cheeky response. Earlier, the response seemed to be a little more sober and serious. I am concerned that whatever press release, whatever tone we want our press release to be, it's going to be shaped by the media, and they're still looking to make it like that kind of an issue. I want something really milquetoast. We are with the Tea Party on this. We do not have an issue with them on this.
But that-
Let's like
if they do
very
want
low key.
something-
Let's let it die.
If they want something like this, then we give the Tea Party milquetoast, and we point the finger at the media. We
Well,
say,
even
this
pointing
is
the finger at the
yours.
media is like that's more turmoil. That's more
Sure,
like,
there's
and
more
I
press for
don't. I
us.
want something that's like totally we're asleep on this. You know,
I just
we're
feel
not
like
having
the
a fight at
danger
all.
is-
Yeah, what do you think the danger is?
That it gives more kick to a Occupy versus Tea Party issue.
How?
We actually, this might be a little off topic, but we're actually electing representatives to
Go talk
meet
to the
with the Tea Party soon, like in the next week.
Well,
So
that should be the story. That we're not antagonizing. We're trying to.
right, and I think, but
Maybe not
Fine,
though,
middle-
because
middle-
they
fine,
might,
middle.
perspective-wise, they might frame it as we have condolences with the Tea Party, and we sympathize and empathize with them being audited, and being, in a way, we're kind of, I think in a way, the media wants us to be shown in solidarity with the Tea Party, because we are, like them, we are an oppositional, subcultural, political group in opposition to society as a whole. No fucking way. We're presenting a better solution to society. So therefore, I think we need to go with that for the first angle that was presented. I think we need to start attacking people, not harshly, but I think we need to start. We agreed on putting a shit list together. I mean, I feel
Yeah,
like
I mean, this is a media event. It was put together essentially to create press. So, okay, we'll turn it around on. We can turn it around on them and use it as press for us. But we just have to use it correctly, and we have to say, this is, you people created this. You're the ones who want to see this. So,
And then if we want to back it up maybe with what we just said, Will, like, and we are going to meet with the Tea Party about our
Right.
own issues that
Exactly.
we have with them, but don't tell us what the issues are that we have with them.
Yeah. I mean, and
I see.
I'm worried that by taking their side on an issue that I adamantly believe, in regards to the $10,000, I adamantly believe that the city was in the right for taking it. Not that that the fees were justified, but they were in place before the Tea Party wanted to do the things that they did. For the reason, I mean,
Well, that's like
here's the thing. When they wanted, I talked to the special events coordinator at the Department of Parks and Rec. He said that had the Tea Party done exactly what we did, marched into Canal Plaza, spoke without any amplification, they wouldn't have been charged a dime. But they wanted a stage. They wanted venue booths so they could sell shit. They wanted food carts. They wanted bathrooms. They wanted police protection. They wanted all these little amenities, and that's where the fees came in. Not being there. Being there was free. It's the amenities that they wanted, that they specified, and they asked the city to give them permits for, that they paid for. We didn't ask for any of that. So you're comparing apples to oranges when you're comparing what we did to what the Tea Party did. And by saying we totally think they should get their money back, is agreeing that they were doing exactly what we did, and that's not the case.
Okay. So we could amend our statement to say we think they should get back any money that was solely for paid for them to exercise their free speech rights.
Which is zero.
Okay, that's fine. But the bigger problem is that we also, well, I don't know how you feel about this, but I do not like the city going after any political group with an audit with the timing like this. Like, it doesn't look good.
I agree.
They have the power to use their discretion to not do that, and they chose to do it. That sends a message.
I absolutely
Okay.
agree, but I mean, and again, to counter that, they're not the only ones being audited right now. There's 700 other businesses being audited.
The
They
Richmond
just
Tea
happen
Party,
to be-
you can say what they want, and like, yeah, in a way they are kind of a business, but in a way they also aren't a business.
They file tax forms. They file for. They have an established organization that it has a tax code. Established.
Right, and how much money do you think they take in?
A shit ton.
My understanding is that that's not true.
In Richmond, it's not much.
They take in money at certain particular events, but other than that, and that's what they said. That's what they said in their press release. They're like, we're not going to respond to this. We're just going to keep filing the same forms because we're not bringing money in.
Okay. I mean, I
Besides, like, I'll just share with you how I approach this. Like, who cares? Like, the bottom line is that the city's trying to triangulate us.
Right.
And we should just throw it back in their face.
I'm all
you
for
thought
it.
we were going to do your dirty work and, like, be
Yeah.
your...
I'm not. I want to.
Who's the bigger threat here?
I want to extend my hand to the Tea Party under certain conditions that they don't try to think that we're all a bunch of right wing.
It's one thing to extend yourself to the Tea Party and have friendly overtures, and it's totally another thing to take a magnanimous, principled position.
Mhm.
We don't have to give the Tea Party shit. We can simply say, we think the Tea Party are a bunch of assholes, but like they have the right to political speech without the threat of audits when they speak up. That's it.
And I agree. But the media is never going to see it that way, no matter how we frame our argument.
It doesn't matter
They're going
how
to
the
see
media
us
sees
together, and they're going to
So
frame it
sick
as.
of
It
trying
doesn't-
to chase these goddamn
We're
reporters.
not there to change their perception. We're there to feed them information that will
Exactly.
project
And I
our
agree.
view.
I agree.
And it's not about
As much
this
as
particular interaction is not about the media.
But what my mom and dad keep calling me about is ask me why we're doing all these things that they hear about on the news, and they can get the information from me. Very well, they get inside information from me about what's going on. Yet they're still paying attention to the news and finding getting their information through the TV. And this is my own parents. I can imagine what the average person sitting on their couch, have no connection to Occupy Richmond also whatsoever, sitting there watching Channel 6 and going, they're joining forces with the Tea Party? Oh, well, I'd absolutely want nothing to do with them now.
So let's think about. Let's think about the three things I posed, right? One, a little bit more constructive, more clear-headed. Another one, maybe a little bit more antagonistic, or a little bit more pushy, more pressure. What are the possible outcomes of that that motive? What are the outcomes? I think this is for everybody to answer. I mean, personally, I think one, they could possibly say, "Oh wow, for all of a sudden, Occupy is a little aggressive," and they might highlight that. Then somebody else is going to read that, and they're going to think, "Huh, maybe Occupy has a certain type of backbone against these people." I mean, that's a possible outcome. There are many possible outcomes because we do not know how they're going to spin what we say.
Right.
But the fact is that if we don't start taking bold choices and risks, little risks, we will never know.
And again, I'm not against the concept that we're going here. It's how to go about it that I'm worried about. Again, I still want. I mean, I think we're all on the same page. It's just I'm reading the different part of that page than y'all are, because I'm reading into the consequences as opposed to the benefits, and I'm concerned that the consequences might, the negative consequences might outweigh the positive benefits of doing possibly joining forces with them. Not that I don't want it.
That would have to be something that's brought back to GA.
'Cause, I mean, we can, yeah, and we stand to lose a lot of.
I know.
We stand to lose a lot of left wing support. And that is.
Sorry, this pushes a lot of buttons for me.
I,
We stand to lose a lot of the superficial left wing that is more concerned with branding than they are with actual principles.
okay.
But yeah, I agree with you. But that's why I feel like the best approach to this is not taking it seriously and staging a media event for the media that wants a staged event.
I think that'd be amazing.
That would be awesome. That would give them something that's like, ha ha, human interest.
I mean,
And
Plus, think about a lot of people who just watch the news and they're like, people who I work with, like people our age, I mean younger, like who are just like,
Totally get it.
who are like, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, who are like, Occupy, oh, is that just the same thing as the Tea Party? No, it's not. So what can we do as like a mock
Right.
event that helps open up
And the people
that
who
dialogue?
don't get it will at least not get the wrong message.
Right.
They're not going to get the message of, oh, they're in bed together. They're going to get the message of, what the fuck is that about?
And what is this?
I mean, y'all think just a. I mean, all right. So let me get this straight. Y'all want to just have a kind of a mock event.
Amazing.
Occupy Richmond would like to extend an invitation to the Richmond Tea Party to partake in sumo wrestling.
Can we
in
discuss
Canal-
this with the Tea Party
in
for
Canal
this release?
Plaza.
Yes, I think that's
At-
I think that's important. But the other
So
thing
I
it's
need
so
to challenge them
so-
without
Can
them
I-
knowing
can
I
about
have
it.
already
Can
had
I-
Tea Party people contact me on Twitter.
Can
Okay.
This could happen.
Yeah,
can
I'm sure.
Can I? The other side of this is that we already have a group of people talking to the Tea Party,
Yeah, we should send it with them.
so we should probably.
Bentley.
We don't know yet.
Bentley is.
Bobby,
It's
A
the
group of people that are going to,
No, all right.
or
No,
that
you
already
know.
have.
All right, you.
they're the ones who are kind of setting up this forum. That people are going to sit down and talk together.
Can you turn that off just for a second?
Sure.
Get some time.